2016, Emily's List had 900 women who were interested nationally in running. In 2017, they had 26,000 women.
Hi guys, I'm Elizabeth Marasco. I am the organizer for Next Gen America. Our goal is to get millennials, the biggest voting group that doesn't vote, out and activated and involved in the community.
Father knows best in the land of patriarchal. If the regime don't like your color, your gender, you're a Muslim or a Jew, your sexual attraction, then they don't want you.
I grew up poor with a dad who was black and a mom who was white. I went to war, I went to college, I joined my union, I worked my butt off. I'm a woman and I am damn proud of it. As a millennial, as a mom, as an Iraq War veteran who has served on the front lines, I ask you to never stop leading and to let you know that reinforcements have arrived.
If you or someone you know has experienced sexual assault as defined by the U.S. government, please raise your hand.
Me too. It's embarrassing. And after all, who would believe that a confident, outgoing woman would ever have let someone they knew pin her down and use her neck to beat her head off the floor so many times she thought she was dying, and in between the stars flashing, she begged for death. When he finally allowed me to get a job, I made a friend who didn't believe me when I said I tripped and fell. I met a friend who didn't believe me when I said I accidentally slammed my hand in a car door. Those of you in the military know this term as a noun. A breach is a gap in a wall. It's an opening and a barrier. And as a verb, to breach is to break through.
Oh, Mommy!
Then imitate the actions of the tiger. Stiffen the sinews, summon up the blood, disguise fair nature with hard-favored rage.
Yeah, Mommy, go speak out your words, girl!
So, and that's actually kind of what led me to run for school board. There were a lot of people, when I decided I was going to run for office, a lot of people said, you're aiming too low, you should do something bigger, why do you want to do school board? But I have kids in school, and I knew that if I got on that board, I could make changes and influence and shape policy that's going to directly affect my family and my community. And that's what it's all about, right? We need to come together in our communities and stand up for what we believe in. So speaking of legislators, this is the final thing I want to talk about. I think really if we want to change our culture and change things moving forward and achieve true equality, we have to get more women in elected office. It is crucial.
I've been told that I can't work in a medical office because that's not the image they want to present to their customers, to their patients. Estamos aquí y queremos que nos oigan. Nosotros somos fuertes y necesitamos hacernos sentir. We need to be heard. We want to be heard. We are not just maids or cleaning workers or everything that we are told that we are more than that. We are a country of immigrants.
Who is here with me? Who am I going to follow? All of you! We are all leaders today in 2018. We're not waiting for Me Too. We are not waiting for Joan of Arc. We're waiting for us. It's our time. I don't need a leader because I am a leader. You are a leader. Every single person here today, every single person, every woman, man, child, regardless of any orientation or ideology, you're here for a purpose. You're put on this earth for a purpose. You want to know why? Because we are here to protect this earth and every inhabitant on this earth. majority of women are worried about their children getting a proper education. They are worried about whether they have enough money for food and rent. And they are worried about whether their families will soon be divided and deported. And this is what matters to them. And that is why it is unfair to ask these women to stand with us on our priorities if we are not going to stand with them on theirs. We need to stand with all women against police brutality and incarceration. To do this work without intersectionality is to turn a blind eye from what matters most to our fellow women. And if we do not stand by these issues, then we simply do not stand with all women. And if we do not stand with all women, how can we justifiably call ourselves feminists? This is inclusivity. This is diversity. This is intersectional feminism, and it is the only true form of feminism. So it's why we have to hold each other accountable to make sure that all women are safe, educated, and empowered. It's the only way we can move our agenda forward. We cannot minimize the grand scope of what our comrades are going through worldwide.
We need to rise up, and we need to take the youngest person here to the oldest person here and connect and hold hands and keep pushing forward. This is no joke. This is no joke. Me Too. How long have we been talking about Me Too? Does anybody remember Anita Hill? So let's move forward. Let's make a pledge here today, 2018, January 20th, that we will fight together, take somebody's hand, connect, and promise to do something about something. Rise up, connect up. Let's cross age barriers. Let's cross gender barriers. Let's cross religious barriers. Let's connect up, rise up, and make this happen. Yes, and impeach. Dear God, can we go forward?
At that time in my life, however, I had no other way to deal with it. Since then, I have had a very serious long-term relationship with my mental health. We've had our ups and downs, but ultimately, we've made it out okay. I've ruined relationships for fear of scaring people away, but I've also come to learn to be my true self with someone. When I finally did reach out for help, I initially regretted it. I saw a doctor because I'd been having migraines and I was unable to get rid of them. After talking, he prescribed me a very small dose of an antidepressant and told me I was stressed. I was getting married, I was a bride, obviously I'd be stressed. While I knew my wedding was not the problem, my doctor would not listen to me. He upped my antidepressant, told me to manage my stress better. Eventually, he begrudgingly prescribed me Xanax, but told me to never take them. He said they were addictive and I was only to take them for emergencies. This was a marked difference from when the same doctor prescribed my husband Xanax the year previously and told him to take them whenever he needed it. In my experiences, I've learned the things I do not want to hear someone say. It will be fine, get over it, no need to get upset. Or my personal favorite, it is okay. I process things differently than my husband, and not because of my mental illness, but because he is typically more of a logical, at times impulsive man. I am very organized. I'm the type of person who will plan out a conversation before it even happens. It might not even happen, but I have it planned out. So when I'm upset and I hear, no need to get upset, guess what? I'm upset. What I prefer to hear is, I'm here for you. I understand. I am sorry. Another thing I've learned, if you see something, this should be the norm. Mental health days are sick days. You need to take care of yourself the same way you would with the flu. Along with that, self-care is a buzzword, a hashtag, and sometimes even a joke to people. Despite this, you should not feel guilty making time for yourself. Life is hard. Our future looks bleak. We live in a constant, at times toxic news cycle, but we are surviving. When the opportunity for peace comes, embrace it. Garden, color, listen to an audiobook, watch Titanic for the 20th time, whatever you want. The fact is, if we do not take care of ourselves and our mental health, resisting is going to be that much harder. When a record number of women run for office and a sea of blue comes across this year in the elections, I hope to see more people owning their truth. I'm actually going to stand up here for a second longer. So our next speaker is going to be actually two ladies from Two Rivers Roller Derby. So I'm going to introduce Dolly Voodoo and Bruce and B. Anthony.
I could hush the little voice inside of me that said I couldn't. Lamented our losses and our tribulations. The track was and is a safe space for me and for women. It doesn't matter your ability, your size, your background. Derby promotes intersectional feminism. We build each other up. We embrace the different, the honest, the strange. Our diversity makes us stronger. You will never be turned away because once you're here, you're family. Because part of being a roller girl is knowing how to take a hit and keep going.
The perfect fit. So I promptly joined and have the same story as Brew. You know, first day, you're on your skates, you have zero idea what you're doing, and you're surrounded by these people who are superhumans and are doing things on roller skates that you can't even do on your own feet, on sneakers. It was terrifying and exhilarating. I joined immediately, and shortly around that time, I remember distinctly having a conversation with my partner. We were talking about his career, what I was going to do in mine, and he turned to me and said, gosh, if we were together, what would you do? How would you take care of yourself? How would you take care of your daughter? And although this was a fear that lingered in the back of my mind for very long, to hear it vocalized by someone who I loved and wanted to feel supported by was terrifying. The hard decision to call off our impending marriage. I remember the next day I went to practice gearing up for thinking this will be my last practice and saying goodbye to my new friends. I had made it in my mind that I'd have to go home, I'd have to move back and start anew. And leave this thing that had already planted itself deeply in my heart. And I remember in tears telling my teammates, and they looked at me, these people who I knew were so strong and so amazing, and all I wanted to do was be just like them. And they said, are you kidding? You can do this. There's no reason you have to run. You have everything you need. They just showered me with all of these affirmations that I saw back in them. And it was so wonderful to see those people support and lift me up. I stayed with roller derby. 5 years later, I'm still with it. My career has skyrocketed, and I really 100% place it on the fact that I've been so built up. I've been told that it's okay to speak, it's okay to be assertive. You do not have to apologize for having opinions, and what you have to say and what you have to do is completely valid. That's all 100% for my amazing teammates. I have nothing but the most love and respect for them. So even if maybe getting on roller skates and knocking people around is not your thing, find your thing and find your people who will make you feel like that and who you can trust back, and it will do wonders. And I 100% know that if we all stick together, we all do that, we won't have to be standing here in this cold plaza 20 years from now.
He used to say to me things like, the only way you're going back home was in a body bag. And he was arrested for physically assaulting me while I was driving my car. He went back to Pennsylvania after that, and I stayed. I grew. I learned how to be an adult at a very young age, working a budget, managing a franchise pizza restaurant, buying groceries, managing staff in a store. I was 17. And so I met my husband I transferred up from the pizza restaurant up here, and he was the first person that I dated that I could trust, that I could rely on, that I could be happy with forever. I got my high school diploma online. We got married, we made some babies, and then we adopted some babies, and we keep collecting them. It's awesome. Being a foster parent is a rock star thing to do. I love being a mom. I love being a foster mom, and there's nothing more gratifying to hold hands with a child who needs you at the most vulnerable time. On the board is every single preschool that my kids went to, and for my youngest, I ran a cooperative preschool out of my home for families that couldn't afford their own preschools. When Bernie Sanders came to the scene, he launched my opinions into the future. for my kids, and for society. I would have done anything to make that man president. Lately, I've been given an opportunity to work with New Americans Caucus for the Pennsylvania State Party, which is really weird because I'm really white and my family's been here for generations. But I'm a mom. And I'm not just a mom to my kids or white kids, I'm a mom to every kid. And we know, by statistically speaking, by 2056, our population in the United States will be every shade of brown, black, and yellow. They will have almond eyes. For our children, we need accurate representation. White males can sympathize, they can pound the doors with us, but they lack the personal perspective of a woman, of an immigrant, of a black or brown or yellow-skinned individual. It is time that we link our arms together, that we work hard for one another, for a more fair and equitable future for ourselves, for our neighbors, for our grandchildren, and our children. This work is not glamorous, but we have fun doing it. And the more creative minds and hardworking hands that come together, we will become a revolution. We love you, Shireen. You, little you in this crowd who doesn't think that they have the knowledge or the ability to do what I am doing. You. Join your county party. Become a precinct committee person. We have elections this May. Petitions start this February 13th. Make progressive waves. Make your voices heard. Learn, grow, and most importantly, lead.
Yeah, I didn't think I could make it, but you know what? I didn't care. I was going to do it anyway. Sometimes you just have to have hope that Hillary was qualified, that she was the best candidate, and that it was time for a woman to step up and run this country. And the day after the election, I was devastated, like most of you. And I thought, what am I going to do? What can I do? And the march came. You know, after the Christmas and the Thanksgiving conversations with all my family who had voted for Trump. All those conversations of like, oh my gosh, I'm spawned from these people? I am! And if you don't think that this is the moment that we rise up, this is the year of the woman. That's right. And all the men and all the children are behind us now. And I want you to say after me, because I want Trump to hear this down in D.C. I am the change! I am change! You are the change! You are the change! Our power is love! Our power is love! We will rise above! We will rise above! One more time! I am the change! I am the change! You are the change! You are the change! Our power is love! Our power is love! We will rise above! We will rise above! Now take that, feel it, believe it, and go into this next year charged up and know that we are going to make a difference here and now and in the future.
And go forward. Right now, the political environment that we are in is very important. We know, everybody's spoken about it, women are ready and women are running. We need to make sure we keep people involved and we keep the young people involved. We at Next Gen have events going through March and we'll be continuing to have events. There are sign-up sheets, there are commit to vote cards, we have voter registration for anybody who needs to register to vote, change your address, change your name, change your party. Hey, what's up? So please make sure you get around
thank you goes to Elena Kowalski, who did the graphics for the event. She did a fantastic job. Thank you, everybody. They're over there at the next gen table if you want to grab a postcard to take home. Thank you, everyone, for coming out and braving the cold today. Thank you to all of our speakers. Thank you for sharing your personal stories. It has definitely been a journey, and let's move onward and own our